Right.
I mean, it's light, the light is green.
You're on.
Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the Rocky Hill Economic Development Commission meeting for March 12th, 2024, 6 PM. So let's start.
Public comment? We have nobody in line virtually for public comment,
Nobody in line physically for public comment.
right?
Do we need a motion?
Need a motion to amend the agenda?
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda above item 3 to elect officers.
Okay, so we're moving item number 5 to number 3.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So now the election of officers. So we need, what are we doing first? Chair, vice chair? Chair,
Action of the chair?
okay. So we need a nomination for chair. I would like to do it.
I will motion for Dawn Saturday.
You did that really well. Thank
Okay.
you.
I will motion for Dawn Saturday as chair.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Any
Anyone
discussion?
else? Any discussion? Any other nominations?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Yep. Aye.
Vice Chair,
Vice chair,
be shy.
who wants to do it? No?
Okay.
I'll motion for Kathy Carone to be vice chair.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
And it carries. Congratulations.
And to you.
Thank you.
Now, we have one more officer called a secretary.
Oh. Who wants to be the secretary? I never even knew we had that.
It really, I guess if the chair and the vice chair can't show up, maybe the secretary would then move into the running the meeting.
I think they also maybe sign off on minutes beforehand? No?
No.
No.
So that's
Daniel
literally
does
just,
Take care
it.
of all of that. I think you should be the secretary. Anybody want to be, for the record? You?
I would, I just have a lot of travel this month, so I think I might just skip, and being new, I'd rather sit
Okay.
back.
I'll do it if I have to.
I'll make a motion for Alan Smith to be secretary of the commission.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that carries.
As long as I don't have to take notes.
Right.
In shorthand.
All right.
What is that, stenographer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, next item. Review of the Connecticut General Statutes. 7-136, I don't have my glasses on.
I just threw that into the package, just so you'd be aware that there's statutory language that does regulate economic development commissions. In the statute, there's language about commissions, what they shall do and what they may do. I just wanted to make you aware of that there is structure, and it is as deep as the general statutes.
Okay,
And there is some language that's very detailed about commissioners and how they're seated and how they're voted in and their terms,
Mm-hmm.
which does differ than, it's different from what our charter has set out, so
right.
that may or may not be an issue. It hasn't been, but just so you're aware, just so you see it.
So the statutes overrule the charter.
Statutes shall, if a town forms an economic development commission, then it spells out what the town should do.
That says any town may accept the provisions of this section, correct?
If they form a commission, yeah.
Yeah.
So the towns trump.
Pardon me?
The towns are the ones we're following.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Anything else you needed us to know about that one, or no?
No, I just so you know, it's, so you read, I hope you read through. I'm gonna
Yeah.
assume you all read through it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
As long as it's not an issue that we're every 2 years versus what's set up here.
It has not been an issue in decades, so,
Right.
Do we know which came first?
well, the statute came first.
So we did it wrong from the beginning?
Yeah, I would,
Well, to me, it's the first sentence that says the town may accept. That doesn't say it's required to. The may accept allows, it appears to me interpretation and, right? Execution as we see fit, so, yeah.
Yeah, I think probably the most important stuff in there is also conflict of interest type stuff,
Right.
which is later on, anyway.
Okay. Review of the bylaws.
Yeah, those are in there for you to probably bring with you, just so you know the structure that, I don't know when we do know when the bylaws were formed, but it gives you a structure. of What you should do, what you shouldn't do, meetings, voting, what's a quorum, 3 is a quorum. How to amend, how to amend the bylaws. Again, just informational purposes
Yep, no, good to know.
for the new commissioners.
So I would just, based on our conversation earlier, the role of the secretary, Section 4,
Yes.
Got a lot of work to do, Alan.
is to keep
I
the
know,
minutes.
Alan.
Or prepare the agenda, et cetera, et cetera. So is that
Ooh,
different
shall.
from what?
Yes, that does not happen. I do that. Daniel does that.
Yeah,
Or
Daniel.
whoever will be sitting here will do that.
Okay. Okay. Alright. Okay.
The agendas will be prepared, by working with the chair. Maybe some of you may want something on the agenda. You talk
Right.
to Dawn, and Dawn will get a hold of me, or I'll prepare a draft agenda, or whoever will be here doing this will be preparing a draft agenda, sending it to Dawn for review. And then if Dawn has questions, you can send it out to the rest of the commission and, get ideas if you want a certain topic on the agenda.
Okay,
Kathy,
excellent.
that's how we've been doing it since you've been on the board.
Right.
Which we don't know how long she's been here.
I was trying to figure out how long I've been here.
At least 4 years,
At least.
5. Now, you came in probably with a whole,
With Larry. When Larry
Larry,
DeBear.
yeah,
I think it's longer.
6.
Yeah.
So Kathy brings a wealth of experience,
Well,
She does,
continuity.
she does.
Lot of stress on you, Kathy. Dawn has been here for 4 years, Dawn?
yep.
Or,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, we good with the bylaws?
Yep.
The next item, discussion economic development work plan. This is
did-
just, I threw this out there for you, as a commission, to look at it. It's something that we've been working on for many years, developing this work plan. I used to give out a 2-year work plan, let the commission look at it, change it, revise it, add, subtract, just to give you guidance, and you don't do the whole thing. You can pick out 1 or 2 actions a year if you want. What should we do this year? What should we do this quarter? So this is just a working document for you to look at, play around with, prioritize. These things have been done, and it's like some of these are ongoing, never-ending tasks. Do you want to go through them now?
Yeah, if we could, do you mind?
Plan of conservation and development. Every year, every 10 years, state requires towns to update their plan of conservation and development. That plan is the work of the Planning and Zoning Commission by statute. Our last plan of development was approved in 2015. At that time, I had this commission very involved in working with the Planning and Zoning Commission. We're working on different zoning regulation proposals, different parts of the plan, and how to change things. I took all that information and worked with the consultant and Kim Ritchie, the town planner. So this commission, you're coming in at a perfect time to start working when we do hire a consultant, to start working with the consultant and Kim Ritchie to get what you think needs to be changed in the plan of conservation and development. Once the plan is approved, the next step is to tweak the zoning regulations. If they're not appropriate at the time, if they're not implementing the plan of development, that's the time to change the regulations, to start working towards implementing the goals, objectives, strategies in that plan. And you'll have a role in that too. The previous commission we had a large role in developing, agricultural zoning for businesses and also for trying to rezone Brook Street, which they finally did, and other actions that we worked on. So I think, for me, that would be the most important part of your job right now, is to start thinking of I can get you the plan of conservation. It's online, but if you want a hard copy, I can get copies for you.
The one from 2015?
15, yeah.
Do we know the timeline for this upcoming one? Is it like,
June 25,
is when it's
It's due by.
due?
yeah.
But obviously, we don't start working on it in June of '25.
Yeah. We funded some money for a consultant. In this upcoming budget, there's some more money to match that. So probably sometime in July, we'll have some funding to,
Put out to bid
Go out
to
for a
find
consultant.
somebody to help us update it.
Yeah.
And then,
with that, we are also working with the Nature Conservancy and a resiliency plan through Sustainable Connecticut. They have a program where they partner with the Nature Conservancy, where they will come in and work with the towns for free to come up with a resilience, they call it a resiliency plan. It's basically, it could be from anything from economic development to open space conservation, addressing climate change impacts. That, I know Kim Ritchie is looking at, and I agree with her, that would be like the nucleus of the plan of development. Everything kind of works around preservation of the environment, protection of the environment. So we can get a large portion of the plan of development done for free with this resiliency plan. And then everything, economic development, housing, affordable housing, drainage infrastructure, all that works around the environmental protection, environmental planning. So that would be a big chunk that would help us reduce the cost of the plan of development. Also would help us to, actually, it would be an easier task for the Planning and Zoning Commission to actually approve and get through the plan of development if this large portion is done by the Nature Conservancy with volunteers from the community.
Will we be able to see the working document
Yeah.
as it's
Yeah,
progressing?
that's part of the plan, that's part of the process.
Yep.
In stages, there will be, the consultant will bring out certain stages of the, certain chapters, so to speak, of, housing,
Yep.
economic development, open space, transportation, all those different components, and
Okay.
different drafts of each of those components will be public workshops, public meetings. It's a very public process.
I'm looking forward to it.
so for the resiliency aspect of it, what's the timeline for those consultants' work?
That, we met with the consultant, we had to form like a steering committee initial
Yeah.
kickoff. That was comprised of, I had many of our department head staff meet with the Nature Conservancy as a kickoff. And they thought that they would like to start in March.
Okay,
So we will be working with Jason from the engineering department. He has control of the sustainable group. So we will be working to try to get volunteers to sit on that workshop to help get this plan going. So March, April.
and then that's like, is that like a 6-month thing, a 3-month thing?
It's probably more like a 3-month thing.
Okay, so they start working on that March, April, call it 3 months. Now you're into July, which is when the budget's been approved, we have the money that we're working with.
Hopefully it works as smoothly as that,
Probably won't,
but
but
we can hope. We
can
have-
at least lay the plans.
Absolutely.
But that puts us in a good spot. Now we're, in July, we've got 5 months still left of 2024 to maybe start some more of the stakeholder meetings and all of those things. And,
Yeah.
all right. because we won't, not a lot gets done in like November, December. So, okay.
That's exciting.
The next bullet point is a business resources directory to maintain and expand an online listing of available resources for businesses to access. There's a little bit of that on the economic development section of the website, or our town website, some funding sources. Business directory is the next component. There is something on our website that I had started a few years back on a spreadsheet. It's one of those things that, it's like painting like the Aragoni Bridge. Once you finish painting it, you have to go back and start
Do it
over again.
again.
Right,
Because businesses change all the time.
yeah.
So that needs to be updated. In addition to just having a listing in addresses and phones, I have websites and also some email contacts, which would not be a public section. That would be for us to use to send out notices and contacts and, for different events. So that needs to be, that's a
Updated?
project.
Who's,
I remember that.
who's the target audience for that directory? Is it us?
That is it's us, and
It's
also
us.
for people looking, okay, I want to go to a restaurant.
And they wouldn't go on Google
They could
or
go on
Yelp
Google.
or something?
They could do that.
This was good for us, though. Remember, we needed it for something.
Right.
A couple
We
Couple
need
of
it for
times.
Right.
notifications.
notifications, reach outs.
If we
things
have
like
it,
that.
we used to do breakfast meetings, so we can
Yes.
blast to the businesses.
And Ray, does that directory get put on our website?
It
so
is on the
people-
website now,
Oh,
even
it is
though
on
it's
the
outdated.
website.
Yeah,
Wouldn't the town have an existing database of active businesses that close, that's done or updated on a regular basis?
no,
Nothing?
I
This
would
is
have to do
pretty much what
that.
we're, yeah.
Somebody needs to do that, a human.
Yeah, you gotta input it.
I was doing that.
There were a lot more
a while ago, but
businesses
now I
than,
can't doing it now.
than we had even
Right.
thought of.
Right.
There were quite a few.
Yeah, well, sure, there's any
List of
number.
Businesses from a tax assessor standpoint, that must be listed somewhere, no?
They have trade names, but it requires compilation.
Okay.
And they don't have email addresses.
Yeah, and
And they don't have like a
Yeah.
category,
Yeah.
Restaurants, medical, it's a task, it's a
Yeah.
labor intensive.
Yeah,
And the best way to do it, I started that back in 2008, just by doing a windshield survey, going to every business, doing Excel spreadsheet and then putting it together. That's how that started. And then trying to update it as often as I could. So, an intern can do it.
that's what I was,
Right.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
What are the chances of getting an intern?
It's a good idea, though.
or summer worker. Can't we
That-
get,
that's just
do
a
we get summer
laborious-
workers?
It is.
Yeah, it's a
Or
tedious
maybe-
task.
Yeah.
and it's
Maybe
every
a realtor or
month.
two, or
There's gonna
three.
be changes to it, it's gotta, yeah.
We do get summer workers? Or, no, I was asking if we get summer workers, like that would be a good thing for a summer.
Yeah, we could do that, as long
Yeah.
as we don't have to pay them.
Well, I think the majority of the information you could just get online, other than the contact information.
That's how I would
That,
do
and
that,
that's
but
the most valuable part.
It takes hours to sit online, let me Google
Yeah.
this restaurant,
sorry.
make sure that it's in business. Sometimes you would have to call the phone number and they would not be there.
Well, yeah,
Right,
So it's that kind of labor-intensive project.
yeah,
There are organizations where you can buy a list, which I have done, from a company like ESRI. However, the problem is, if, for example, you own, I had this example this morning, if you own a pizza chain restaurant, like a number of them, but you live in Rocky Hill, that business will be listed as in Rocky Hill. And obviously, it's not in Rocky Hill, they're in other towns, so. There were many, many, many of those when I bought that list. So that took months to go through and never finished, so
yeah,
yes.
it's,
But ultimately, the purpose of that list would be for communication about whatever.
Yeah, you know, small, SBC is having a seminar on business financing, you know, we can blast that out, or,
Right.
you know, things like that.
Isn't that like Constant Contacts or something? That's a software program that
Yeah,
you
but
just,
but you need those emails. You know,
yeah,
You need the addresses.
yeah, you do.
And if you have ideas, that's great, you know, just,
I mean, obviously, the Chamber of Commerce is a resource, but they don't
Yeah.
have everybody.
you know, for all your members. But if you're not a member, you're not gonna be listed.
Right.
Targeting businesses or marketing targeted businesses. Kathy and Don may remember, we hired CERC at the time, Connecticut Economic
Yep.
Resource Center, to come in and prepare a targeting marketing plan. I will get that out to you. It's 2017, but I don't think that what we're looking for, the targets have changed. I'll get that out to you for the next meeting to look at. It's not a big, it's a short, concise document.
Does the town have a database indicating available office space or vacant buildings?
Yeah, we have a service that we have purchased through Advanced CT, which used to be Connecticut Economic Resource Center.
Okay.
It has every available site that a realtor will put on that site. It may not have everyone, but all participating organizations' properties will be on that site. It's on it's on our website, under available properties. Actually, when you get on that website, not only does it have available properties, but you can go hit community, and it will have all the statistics of, you know, all the demographics, all of the housing stats, all of the businesses by category, by name. But again, that business listing is not all that accurate, because there are issues.
Right.
But it's very comprehensive.
Yeah. Yeah, the reason why I was asking, you know, any businesses that have contracts that might be expiring within a certain time period, and any risk of them thinking of departing Rocky Hill for another town or whatever, to maybe proactively reach out, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, we wouldn't necessarily be a privy to whatever that lease agreement is, or when it's over, you know.
We'd have to get out and talk, which is on
Right,
this
that's one of the
work
things.
plan.
We're getting
Yeah.
there to business
You're
visitations.
getting to that, and that's where you find it
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
is when you're out there talking to the businesses, which we used to do a lot of.
Yeah, that was helpful.
Yeah.
The issue with that is, when I did this in other towns, I would have the whole commission go. But that's a public meeting.
Right.
So you violate FOIA regulations. So what we did was, I would go and I would have like, okay, the first commissioner that calls me wins, right, or the first two win, and they can come with me, because 3 is a quorum. But we might want to change that and have each, each one of you, maybe if you want to go out on your own, but have like a set of questions. We have questionnaires. I have a questionnaire. I'll give that out to you next time too. You can change it around. There are other questionnaires that are many, many pages. We tried to keep it simple because we don't want to bore the CEO or the manager or what have you. But certain information that's valuable to collect and maintain in a database that we can put in a database for that particular business. And at that point, we can find out if they're leaving, if they have issues with the town, if they have issues with the state, or why they're here. You know, why do they pick Rocky Hill, you know? So we receive a lot of information that way.
Did you used to call them before you went in, or
Oh,
would you
yeah.
just kind of pop by?
No. We would have Daniel call, or before Daniel, we would have somebody from the town manager's office call,
Just call?
set up an appointment.
Okay.
Some businesses said, no, thank you, I have no problems, and they don't want to see us because they're afraid of town hall.
But, Ray, I have a question. So I'm out and about a lot in town, like most of us probably are. Are we free to talk to them then, as I'm out in those places?
Yeah, as long as we can, yes. And if they're, as long as, you know, If there are issues, then we need to know about them,
Right,
yeah.
because I have found things out that way.
You
You know,
can bring that
walking
back.
into a
Right.
place and
You-
saying, hey, how's it going? Oh, by the way, you know, I sit on economic development and, you know, anything,
As long as it's not, information that they don't want disclosed in public.
right,
If it's something like that, you can call me, we can sit down, that way, privately. But if it's something that's valuable that, that we can use publicly, that's very helpful.
okay.
And I'm sure there's plenty of opportunity to do that at your restaurants and your retail stores and stuff like that,
Yep.
but not necessarily like the global manufacturer.
Right.
Oh,
You know,
no,
You're not gonna, those are the things that we need to set up.
Yeah,
and
Henkel and Arberg.
right,
and
these
right.
sort of
You
things,
can't
yeah.
just walk into them. I'm talking
Be like, I
about,
was in the neighborhood.
yeah.
What's your experience?
Yeah, right.
How long's your lease?
No, I'm
Yeah.
kind of talking more like as you're out shopping
Oh,
and you're
absolutely.
visiting
That-
these,
that's-
family businesses in town.
And we have 3 realtors who love to talk to people. so we get
Exactly.
A lot of information.
We don't talk. We don't talk very much. We don't talk very much.
Yeah, that would be very helpful.
Yeah,
We can do that. Maybe you can develop some type of format to share the information.
and you can build a rapport with them
share
too, to make sure that, they're comfortable. Call me anytime.
Yeah.
So you build a relationship with them and they go, they'll call you and say, guess what, I'm having a problem.
Yeah, I would much rather have businesses in town have another point of contact before we find out after they've already signed a lease in another town or moved to another town. I would much rather, than perhaps be afraid to reach out to town hall because
Right.
of whatever.
Right.
Have
That-
another point of
I
contact.
had that
type thing.
happen to me in town a few years back, and a business said, I gotta leave, where am I gonna go? I really wanna stay in town, and, so I was able to help her to relocate, and she stayed in town.
Yeah.
But, that's what I mean, when you build, I had a rapport with her, so she, can you help? Plus, she knew I was a Realtor, so, that helped too, but she knew I was sitting, on economic development. Can you help me? Do you know of anything that we can do? I don't want to leave town.
And it's helpful for you realtors to work with the commercial realtors in town too. I used to have pretty good contact with a number of commercial realtors, and they would call me, or I would reach out to them once in a while. Where I have somebody looking to build a 20,000 square foot recreational facility, and
Right.
where can I put them? That
Yeah.
kind of thing. That was constant with me. That's not happening anymore right now, or not to the level it should be happening. So,
Right. Right.
so the more you're out there, the more you hear, you can bring it back to me, and then we can work to try to get some juices flowing to maybe try to keep them here or get somebody here.
Right.
If you hear somebody outside of Rocky Hill, looking for a space or looking to build something.
If you want to
Oh,
stop
that's
in
true.
outside
In
of
Rocky Hill,
town
yeah.
and say,
Oh,
oh, you
yeah.
know where you should be?
Yeah.
You
You're in
should
the
be in
wrong
Rocky-
town.
You should be in Rocky Hill.
That's what we heard this morning, everybody. It's amazing, when you get outside of Rocky Hill, how people view Rocky Hill.
I
who
know.
are- we met this morning. Are we on the, yeah, Don, you're on the agenda in a little
Am I?
while. to
Okay.
Talk about the Economic Development Council. We'll save that for later. But
Okay.
it's amazing how people view Rocky Hill. The other smaller towns, the officials and the people working in the Economic Development
Yeah.
commissions, they're looking at Rocky Hill like, wow,
Well, I've heard that from a neighboring town,
yeah.
and that they're going through some, housing issues and this and that. And I think, I forgot if I put something out there, whatever, and they went, well, we clearly live in the wrong town, and they were like, why can't we operate like Rocky Hill does? So people really think, town is something, and the way we handle, people here, and help our businesses and help our residents.
Well, I think we're afforded a lot of benefits that not a lot of other towns have.
Yep, you're
Our
right
lo-
there.
Our location, our mix of, residential and retail, commercial and industrial, and a river, and all of these things.
Right, right.
But also, that's why it's important that we don't just rest on that.
Exactly, keep
Yeah.
moving forward.
Can't get
Yeah,
complacent.
keep
Move-
growing.
Yes,
Thinking,
I've
we've got
spoken with
this
people
wrapped.
in a neighboring town that I won't name that is like, well, we don't have any space to put anything. And we decided we were gonna be a suburb, and now we can't put any business here, and now we pay crazy taxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not necessarily us, but we need to be on top of it still,
Yeah.
too.
To that point, we do have, as far as commercial, available commercial property for sale, pretty restrictive.
Yeah.
Commercial vacant property, we have like 5 properties left. So, we're pretty tight there. Now we have a couple of buildings now that came on the market, as you all know, on Brook Street. And also some property for sale, but very, very restrictive. And we also don't allow some heavier manufacturing in town, which is what, at the time, and probably still, is something that we probably don't want to do, some of that heavier, more industrial manufacturing. We were looking for more, manufacturing in general is clean now anyway, so, it's a whole different world.
Yeah, we don't have a ton of space left, and we don't really want to spare it. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to jump down to business visitation. We just talked about that.
Yep.
So what would you like us to do for that? Do you want to try to, maybe next meeting or something, try to put together a plan for it? Or,
Or do you already have something? Don't you have like a questionnaire?
has a
or
questionnaire.
something that we can, maybe email that out to us? We can kind of look at it. At least we're all on the same page as far as what we're talking to businesses about.
right, that would be good.
And then.
Yeah, I think that's good
and
to
then-
have.
And then in
Yeah.
there, I don't know if that's on the outline, but what they don't want public. In other words, if somebody discloses something with us, and says, I don't want everybody in town to know my lease is up next month, but,
Yeah,
something we can know, but not, maybe, note that in there. That's not really for public knowledge. They don't,
Yeah, the visitation questionnaires would be kept in my office or the Economic Development Office.
Yeah.
Okay.
They wouldn't be disclosed.
Yeah,
And then we can talk about whatever they don't mind being talked about,
right.
But I'll get the questionnaire to you. You may find that you want more detail. You probably will.
Okay.
What's a good framework for us, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, maybe before the next meeting, yeah, we get the questionnaires ahead of time, but also maybe identify a top 5 or 10 employers in town or something like that, as, that should be like our first target.
Prioritize who we want to
Yes.
go. Yeah,
To
absolutely.
establish
Yep.
some sort of, whether it's a relationship, a dialogue, or whatever. And, we can probably think of a few of those names. But, I'm sure Ray's got the actual
Do you want the
companies.
top 10? I can give you the top 10.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be great.
And then you can pick.
Yeah, and I think we identify any of those we don't have a contact for. And the ones that we do, see if we can establish, hey, can we meet with you and see what your needs are?
So would you have time to do something like that, Ray? Because I know that a couple of the towns at this Economic Council, they do that. They go out with their, if it's a first selectman or, somebody at the town,
Yeah.
they go out there along with an Economic Development Commission member or commissioner.
I used to
And-
do that right now. I mean, if you want to do that between now and May, middle of May, I can't do that right now.
Okay, that makes
Because
sense.
we have budget and.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just thinking, so they said what helped them a lot, because they were, it was their top, I think they said their top 20 taxpayers or employers in the town. So that's who they went out to, and they felt that coming in both from the town and the economic development, it
Yeah.
made the business owners, feel very important and,
Yep.
that they mattered to the
Yeah.
town. And that's sometimes,
Yeah, and I certainly don't want that, adding that in as adding one more thing on
yeah,
Ray's
no, I
plate.
get that.
If that's something that
That's
can be
much appreciated.
I don't see why you can't get
if
up
that's
earlier.
something that that we as volunteers can take off the plate or loop in Chamber of Commerce type, something like that too.
Joe, you can get Joe in.
Maybe not Joe, but Chris, or
Or Chris.
Chris and Joe.
Chris.
Chris is the Economic
Yeah.
Development
Yeah.
Director,
Yeah.
and Joe is like our Rocky Hill Division.
Yes,
But we just need it, we need it organized,
yeah.
structured, so it's useful for us to use, for our, when it's either gonna be me or whoever is gonna replace me.
Maybe we can take
Right,
some
from the
time and
town.
like
It's not gonna
really
be
kind of make a plan. Make a plan
Dan?
for that.
Yeah,
I'm volunteering.
We're
here.
voluntolding him.
Maybe we can make a plan. for-
Get an intern.
No, you really need representation from the town
I'm just,
on some level.
and I'd like to do that, but maybe later,
Okay, no, understood.
every once in a while.
Yeah.
Pursue options for development of Phase 2 of the business park. Do y'all know what that is?
yeah. So how much of that is owned by the town? How much is privately owned in the area?
This is at the end of Old Forge.
Yep.
The town owns 62 acres.
But a chunk of that is the solar.
15 to 17 acres is leased by Tesla for their megawatt for our solar farm.
Another big chunk is our Christmas trees and brush and
The
stuff.
other chunk is scattered around for
Yeah.
public and highway. That could be reorganized,
Yeah.
structured more to give more development. And then behind that, that borders us up to Cromwell, is another 54 acres owned, privately owned.
Yeah.
That backs up to the gas line up on top of near the golf course in Cromwell. The way to get into that property is through Rocky Hill. That gravel road that crosses the brook, that gets into like where you go bring your trees and your stumps and your
Yeah.
brush.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a bridge, a little bridge. That needs to be replaced if that's going to be developed. And that's in the past decade and past 12, 15 years. That's been a sticking point.
The bridge
because-
has been the sticking point?
Yeah.
So we put out an RFP for it.
We have put out our RFPs in the past, and we've gotten developers, but back when we did it, the property was worth, $2 million. The town wanted $2 million. A lot of developers looked at it and said, well, we have to bring in water, sewer, and we have to build this bridge because the Wetland Commission won't let a culvert build, you won't let the town build a culvert. You have to build some type of span bridge, which is much more expensive. So Kerry Wood got the town a $500,000 bond commission grant to hire a consulting engineer to do a design of the bridge.
Oh, okay.
So to incentivize.
So that's just to figure out what the bridge has to look like, but
Right.
that's not,
What it's going to cost?
What it's going to cost, and
yeah.
also, that way, if somebody's interested, we say, well, we have the property, we can work with you on the price, but you don't have to spend $300,000 on a design. We already have a design bridge for you. You can build it, we designed it, you build it.
So what is the planned use for that property?
There is no planned use.
No ideas?
Light industrial.
The big
Right.
problem is, one of the big issues, not a problem, it's an issue that needs to be managed. It's over in Level A Aquifer.
Yep.
Which provides public drinking water for parts of Cromwell and parts of Glastonbury. So anything that goes there, if it's type of industrial, needs to be managed, best management practices. So it needs to be well-regulated. We have brought quite a few people over there since 2006 to look at it, and it's problematic.
Well, the road costs are probably
Yeah.
a little terrifying.
We wouldn't need a road, it would be more like a driveway into a commercial development,
Oh.
But it still needs to be paved, drained, utilities have to go through that, so it's an issue.
And how close is the MDC line to bring it in?
It's available,
Is there?
It's available in the road, but you have to bring it in across the street, and then you have to bring it in at least 2,000 feet into the property,
Okay.
so it's a long haul.
And that doesn't connect back up with Main Street
No.
at all, only through Old Forge?
Only through Old Forge, because the west side is Dividend Pond
Yeah.
Park. And then there's a whole bunch of open space along that west side up to the top of the hill bordering Cromwell. That's
Yeah.
all open space, can't touch it. You might be able to bring in, you know, there are sewer easements that go through. There's a condo development in Pleasant Drive.
Yeah.
And then you go to the 54-acre piece, which then goes up a hill, where all the dirt bikes used to go up the hill.
Yeah.
To the top of the, near the practice
Yep.
green by the, where the golf course is. And then there's a Algonquin gas line that goes through the top.
Right.
You can't get in through that way because that property doesn't, that property only has a little bit, couple of pieces of chunks in Cromwell you can't get in. So the access would have to be from Rocky Hill.
Yeah, it would have to be Old Ford Road
Yeah.
and back, yeah.
Yeah,
So you have here, though, pursue development options, so no.
yeah.
So we have to
No real
find somebody that's
direction.
willing
Gotta
to,
find somebody.
yeah, we gotta find,
You know, we've had interested people, there may be an interest that I have to follow up on that may want to develop that. We've taken people on tours out there.
the private landowner that's out there, does he have any plans?
He had plans. I think those plans are not, have changed, so I don't know.
Since he
what
realized that he couldn't drive over the
Yeah.
culvert?
Realize, oh, wow, what can I do here? He can drive over the culvert. We have our dump trucks.
I know, but
public
like
works,
heavy
but-
trucks can't necessarily.
Yeah, but this is the money, I think, to get the utilities.
Oh, okay, yeah. And he's got, and that's like 55 acres, he said?
Yep, 54. If you look at the map, I can try to get you the map if I remember. We call it the dog in the boot because the shape of our property looks like a boot with a long heel. And the shape of the private property looks just like a dog head. You know, it's very obvious. You can see that. It's pretty interesting looking. It's all used to be a gravel, a sand pit,
Yeah.
all overgrown. When I first got here, it was all sand. Now it's all overgrown. Would have to be cleared. Continue to
All right.
strengthen partnership with the Middlesex Chamber. I don't know how we're gonna do that. Do we have any liaisons that work with the chamber people?
Well, we have Joe.
Yeah.
I think we have two of them sitting here.
The chamber is incredible, the amount just of resources that they offer to their members. It really, it's very, very impressive. And the networking that they, let you participate in, it's just, it really was a good move.
Yeah, I would say
Part of that,
we get a
yeah.
lot more out of being involved with a larger chamber like that, certainly.
Is there
How-
something online with that chamber that
Yes.
says, this is the benefits to joining as a member?
I mean,
So
they've
that
got
when
a-
we're out
Their
there,
website has a lot of information.
Okay.
There's so much information.
but I mean, is there like something like a
Yeah.
pamphlet or something that we can?
They did have some, they were just
I'm
kind of.
just thinking, like, as you're out talking to businesses, by the way, are you part of the, the Rocky Hill Division of, the chamber? Middlesex, offers, we're part
Might
of
want
this
to
big.
talk to Johanna to see if,
Oh,
that's
if
kind
there's
of,
something that if
They
they say to
just-
us, no, I don't belong to the chamber, but what are my benefits
Well,
to belonging?
I mean, you just have to know the elevator pitch, which
Yeah, I know,
is,
but I'm thinking, if there's like something, we used to
And we
have
have
it
a-
years ago, there used to be a pamphlet that said, these were some of the benefits.
I'm
I
sure
guess
they
it
have.
I'm sure they have all those things.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you want to be the salesperson for
For the chamber,
No.
right?
Just direct
You
them
know,
to the website.
we want to make
though.
sure our businesses can benefit from this.
Yeah, I think generally if people are looking
Joe
for
would go out,
resources,
too. I mean, if you say, if you're interested, I could have Joe reach
Yeah.
out to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Be happy to do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
here's the one thing that I would add about the Chamber of Commerce, though. It's larger. We have access to a lot more resources than the Rocky Hill Chamber of Commerce had in the past. However, they also cover a ton of towns. So it's not solely Rocky Hill that they're advocating for.
Oh, no, I know.
You know,
that, yeah.
I mean, and we can't rely on them to be the voice bringing businesses and promoting businesses in Rocky Hill over somewhere else.
But is Joe our rep for Rocky Hill?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So we could get Joe,
Yeah, the real easy way, if
Engaged.
somebody wants more information,
we can,
gather their information, forward to him, he'll do the rest.
okay.
It's as easy as that.
And Chris did offer to come to our meetings.
Yeah.
To these meetings, to talk, a little bit about what the economic
Mm-hmm.
part of the chamber
What
is.
we used to do in the past, we would have the chamber come and bring a business
Yes,
and do like a 3-minute elevator speech to be on TV
right.
for advertising.
Talk to the
Just
town.
Talk to the commission, whether they're new businesses or existing. That might be a good idea to continue doing that.
So kind of a spotlight on business.
Right.
I mean, that, yeah, that,
We used to
and that
do.
might be nice too, if we're out talking to people and we're asking them about what their, why they're here or why they might not be here forever, invite them to come and talk to us too.
Well, we
You
just
know,
want to make
everybody.
sure that, we get them on the agenda.
Well, yeah. Well, we've got
Maybe
a
we
section for public comment.
Yeah, so we should probably put the chamber on the agenda
Right.
regularly and
We-
have Joe,
used to
could do that.
We have that, yeah. I'll put that back on.
yeah. And have Joe reach out to the
Secretary, could we
spotlight
make sure we
business.
add that?
Yes, let me do that. I'll add, we have a business after dark at the chamber at Carbone Prime, the 20th,
Yes.
March 20th, 5 to 7 for all members. Yep.
The next two are similar to what we just talked about. Sponsor business assistance programs, cooperation with the Middlesex Chamber, regional entities, federal, state agencies. And then the last one is pretty important, I think. Some significant development projects I would used to bring before the commission for them to do a presentation to the commission, because many times they would want support from the Economic Development Commission before they go to planning and zoning. And either by letter or by sometimes, and past chairs would go to the meeting and advocate for that particular project. Mostly, though, the commission would say, okay, yeah, we like the meeting, and then I would do a letter,
Right.
and, under the chairman's signature. What do you think about that?
I like that idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Do we have anything on the docket that needs a yay or nay?
No, not that I know of.
yeah. They're generally like new businesses or new developments coming in.
Yeah, and I think that's helpful, particularly, yeah, if there's a new development coming in or something, and then they have to go to planning and zoning, and they have to give their whole spiel, and the only other person with anything to add is like Kim or Ray, it might be good to have,
Yeah,
a
they get our
third party
support.
speaking from the economic development side of it, says, this is why we think that this is a good fit, and maybe you need to make some exceptions for XYZ.
Ray, whatever happened to boondangle or
Boondoggle.
Boondoggle.
boon, what is it?
Boondoggle.
Boondoggle.
Was that a committee that,
No. Boondangle.
Boondoggle Brewery.
Boondoggle.
oh, the brewery by the river?
brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are still in process of performing Phase 1, 2, and 3 environmental assessments on the Evans Road property, the Truly property,
Right.
because that's where they wanted to go with their plan. We received a $200,000 grant to do that, to do the environmental assessments. Phase 1 was done, Phase 2 is in the process. And we'll
What
do
was
a-
on that property before?
Right.
What was on the property before?
Oil tanks,
Okay.
historically
Okay,
large
I
oil
didn't know what
tanks.
was on it, so why we would need the assessments.
Yeah.
That answers that.
Again, that's more of an incentive. So, okay, the town, through a grant, is going to mitigate the cost of developing that property by performing the environmental assessments.
Mhm.
Therefore, developer, Boondoggle, won't have to pay that 200.
Right.
Probably cost more than that if he did it, $1,000 up front. to find out that the property's contaminated, and he'll have to spend $1 million to clean it up.
Right.
And just oil tanks, I'm sure there's nothing there.
Don't be sure, just say, there may be nothing.
There's no trouble unless you go looking for trouble.
And none of that property with all that acreage over there, that doesn't butt up, or, you know, the property you were talking about, the 62 acres off Old Forge or whatever, that, it's
They
not
don't
near
touch.
that?
They don't touch.
Okay.
No, there's our
There's a bunch of other
property.
stuff in the middle.
We have Pratt Whitney,
thinking
the
that
old Pratt
corner.
I
Whitney
was
site
too.
is right there, and then there's Pratt Whitney, and then the property. So we
Okay.
have Chuli property, the old Pratt Whitney Belamos Park, and then we have an open space piece, and then our 62 acres,
Oh, okay.
and then the 54 acres.
All right.
So take a look at it again, and we can revisit and maybe hone it, and then maybe you can actually, at some point, say, yeah, we want to adopt a work plan with some of the, you know, you can even, I don't care what you do with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, pick, choose, add, take off, you know. That's
Well, I
all I
think-
have.
Ray, question, back in the marketing activity recruitment targeting section, is there an active deck, pitch deck, like Why Rocky Hill, that for prospective businesses, like, that outlines
Of what? I'm sorry. I
the
didn't-
town, like if there are businesses that, you know, you're targeting, is there, do we have do we have a deck that is the Why Rocky Hill population income, benefits of the town, like
That's
a
on the
pitch deck?
The CERC site, or the
Is that what
advanced,
that
what
is?
is
Is
it,
that on the
advanced CT? No, not CERC anymore, advanced CT?
It's advanced CT now. Yeah, we have a
Site finding,
we have a
yeah.
targeting plan that has stats in it, but we don't, and I have developed over the years, you know, some marketing pitches that we've had put in at the time, you know, hard copy magazines and regional real estate development
Okay.
articles, which I haven't done in a while.
Okay.
So we do have a number of different types of marketing, publicity, you know, why Rocky Hill?
Right, right,
Yeah, we have that.
right, okay,
Make new history here.
right.
That's a logo that the previous commission developed with CERC, with another program
Okay.
that they offered. And we also have which I didn't mention, we also have a town video,
Mm-hmm.
and also a banner, Silas Deane Highway banner program, offered by a company called CGI out of Albany, or actually Rochester, New York. They have produced our video, and they updated it recently. Kathy did most of the work updating that video last summer. And it costs no cost to the town. It's funded through advertisements, online advertisements. They also have a banner program where we were lucky, we received a grant to put up, you know, all the sidewalks and landscaping down the corridor of Silas Deane Highway. Corridor, put up 74 new lampposts. They came to us and said, we have a banner program. We will prepare, install, maintain banners on you know, those long banners on the poles. No cost to the town. Again, funded through advertisements. Business will buy a banner, and they'll have a banner for a year. And if they want to update it, they can purchase again another banner. But it's very successful. I mean, probably 5 or 6, maybe 8 more poles that need banners. We are restricting, though, the number of banners a business can put up on the Silas Deane, because some businesses have a lot.
I
Yeah,
saw
so
that.
I had changed that probably 3 months ago. I talked to them and said, listen, no more than 3 banners per business. Because, you know, you can get, I think it's DePercio.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He had quite a few.
Yeah, quite a few. And I know
Every block.
our fire chief wanted about 10. I'll give you 3. But it's very successful, and it helps, you know, with the promotion of the town and the aesthetics and, you know, a little bit of community.
just one last thing before we move on from the working document. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up what, we hear from a lot of people is about these like high priority properties that nothing has really happened with them for a while. And I understand the plan of conservation and development, that might be an aspect of that. And, Business Park 2 is probably one of our higher priorities, but, I don't know where it would fit in here or if it's something else to identify a few of those properties that maybe are the highest areas of opportunity and probably also are most blighty properties, for lack of a better term. The ones that frequently come up, like what's going on with the X property, what's going on with this, and, for us, I don't know if that's something that we might also want to make a focus, I mean, like the Foundry, these type of things, how can we also, try to have some movement on some of these properties? There's less of those now. There's one big one that has moving right along, but I think of the Foundry, I think of Boondoggle, Business District 2, maybe some other ones. I'm sure that's, I would say, I don't know, once a month, somebody says, hey, what's going on with that
Right.
property by the river?
Right.
It happened in the state of the town this last week. That we only had like one question from the audience. That was what it was about.
Yeah, it's a problem. Again, those properties are privately owned properties, so the town has really no, we can influence, but we have no authority to require a development to do, or a property owner.
Well, we can actively work on incentivizing something.
Well, we have, for
There
example,
is active.
the Truly property, that's what we're that's what we're doing. We're incentivizing that property through environmental assessments through phase 1, 2, and 3. We're trying to incentivize the industrial park with the bridge, design.
Yeah.
There are other properties also that are not blighted, that are sitting vacant, and the commercial realtors are saying, what can we do? Can we change the zoning? And those are 4 properties in Corporate Ridge that are vacant. Enterprise Drive, the end of Henkel Way, on the opposite side of where Vessel is building their 90 units.
Yep.
And 22 acres behind the hotel. Those are properties that are great location, but there's just, nobody's building office buildings anymore. So we need to look, that's something I think should be a priority for the plan of development again, to try to find out, okay, what can we do? Work
Yeah.
with the Planning and Zoning Commission, can we work on different mixed uses in that property? Keep the values up, because they're high-value properties right now. Everything in that park is high value. So, yeah, so we have the riverfront properties we need to look at. We need to look at the Corporate Ridge properties. And there is a property on the end of Executive Office Park Drive, right across from Montage. There's where that cul-de-sac is. At the end, on the left, on the right-hand side, on the east-west side, on the west side, there's like a 7-acre piece that's been vacant. It was approved for a 14,000 square foot engineering firm, never got built, and it's just sitting idle. So I think these property owners, maybe we should meet with them, or somebody, the town, and then maybe a commissioner or two should sit down and say, listen, we want to talk about your property.
Yeah,
What can we do to help?
What's it going to take to get this
It's a good idea.
moving towards something else? Or who do we need to connect you with? Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I think we beat that dead horse.
No, I like that. Glad we have a
Yeah.
direction. Okay, then the Economic Development Council report. So the Economic Development Council, it's a steering committee with the Middlesex Chamber of Commerce. And we have representatives from Economic Development Commissions from all the towns. And I'm the one going for Rocky Hill. And we've been meeting once a month for 5 or 6 months now, I think, right?
I've gone to 2.
Yeah,
And Don's been to 5 or 6 of them.
yeah. No, he doesn't have to. He is very helpful, though. So what we've been doing is kind of sharing information on different ideas. We tend to be, well, besides Middletown, we tend to be one of the larger towns. We're lucky we have the infrastructure with water and sewer. A lot of those towns do not have it, so their problems are kind of based more on something along those lines. They can't do big development because they don't have the infrastructure for it. So, but what I've been getting out of it, and the people on this are very knowledgeable, so it's really, I take so many notes when I'm in there, and now I'm reading through and I'm like, do they even make sense? But learning how to create kind of a downtown. So whereas they have the smaller town, so it almost was easy for them, I say
Yeah.
easy, to kind of create
Yeah,
one.
because they started from a downtown and
Yeah.
expanded.
So now we're here and we kind of want to create a downtown. So just a lot of different ideas that they've brought to the table. It has to do with kind of, mixed-use areas and things, doing the residential and the commercial and how to make it blend and be not only aesthetically pleasing to people, but so that residents don't feel like they were pushed out as well. So just a lot of interesting things that come up from there. What else did you get from that today?
The Main Street program.
Yeah, I love that idea.
It's
So
the,
you know more about it than I do, though.
the Connecticut Main Street program. It's actually, the foundation comes from the National Historic Preservation National Main Street program that they've implemented nationwide in towns across the country. It's based on 4 premises of organization. I don't know them all, I forgot what they were, because I haven't been involved in it in a while, but there were four primary core areas where if a town is accepted into the program, and there are certain physical
Okay.
attributes a town has to have in order to be accepted into the Connecticut and any Main Street program. It requires an organizational structure, like a business association would be a perfect example. It requires at least a part-time paid position as a Main Street manager, and that person would be focused on, like, say, a Main Street corridor, working with the businesses, working on these four core areas of, marketing, economic structure, aesthetics is what that is. And business assistance focused on an area of town. I worked with them when I was in 2 different towns before I came here, in my position with those towns. Rocky Hill, we don't have that density. We don't have a core area of like a business association, not even a little neighborhood area yet, but we do have a development, we do have a little physical area, like our town hall campus.
Right, the municipal campus.
All the municipal
was-
buildings, the post
Yeah.
office, the church, the state highway, Sidestein Highway, some businesses there. Main Street up to where Kelson Row is, we'll have, 300-400 people living there eventually. Down Glastonbury Avenue to the river, that's all. By the way, Glastonbury Avenue is it's an overlay zone that allows a mix of some commercial, office, retail, and residential down that area. So that all has, I think if we invite somebody, they may come, and we can show them around. And if I pay for a membership, which we were a member at one time, we can get some services from them at a reduced cost. It's probably worth revisiting.
It would be nice to have somebody come in, though, and
Yeah.
just kind of share their ideas, because it was, I really enjoyed seeing, so we hosted today's meeting, so it tends to go from town to town. So a lot of the other people, the other town people came, and they just had a different, like, take on it. They're like, what do you mean you don't have a downtown? You clearly have a downtown area.
Yeah.
So to see them see it, you know, just from an outsider
yes,
sort of
yeah.
in. And so it was like, you know what, we do, and it, you know, I mean, it still needs to be created more for stores and walkability and all of those things, but it's like, we do have, the foundation is there. So to have a program like the Connecticut Main Street to come in maybe, or,
Was that the name of the organization, Connecticut Main Street?
it's,
Connecticut Main Street.
yeah,
Connecticut Main, ctmainstreet.org is their
Okay.
website.
yeah. So, I found that helpful. Then some of the other ideas were, because some of the towns sort of, they don't want certain businesses to come in because of the fact they can't handle them, the infrastructure-wise, but they are looking for things like hotels was one thing, these small towns that couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Did they announce, that Portland thing was announced too?
The Portland
Tartan?
Tartan
Tartan
Spas.
Spas. Portland is getting this thing called Tartan Spas. I didn't look it up yet. I want to.
Yeah.
It's some sort of Nordic spa that they have one in Canada, and they searched like the entire country, I guess, and they chose Portland,
The Brownstone Quarries.
put it there. And it's these outdoor spa things. I guess they have little cabins and they have hot tubs. So they do cold plunge, then the hot tub, then the cold plunge. And they expect 100,000 people a year to go visit there into Portland.
But they
Yeah, so
have
they-
no accommodations.
No hotels.
Well, we've got a quarry.
We have a lot of
Hey, one-
hotel rooms, too.
And we got a lot of-
666 hotel rooms.
Yeah.
Can we just add or subtract one of those hotel rooms at least? So it's not 666?
It was just interesting, though, how they
I didn't even realize that, actually.
were able to attract that business, though, to that.
Yeah.
No,
the
they had,
quarry.
they had the feature. Our features are, is the location. In Central Connecticut, the highway,
Right.
you know, that's in the river for.
The
other-
river, too, you know,
Yeah.
the towns all along the Connecticut River, it almost seems like we haven't utilized the fact that we have this beautiful riverfront.
What we have to do is, okay, let's inventory our features and how will that benefit the economy? You know, every town has a feature,
Yep.
right, to look, whatever it is, but not every town capitalizes on the benefit of that feature. So that's what I think that we have to work on doing.
Yeah, I don't know, after today's meeting, though, I just felt like we were really on the precipice of being able to, like, really create our downtown. Just, we really are so close.
And you know, I was talking to Chris from Middlesex Chamber, and he said basically any commissioner can go to those meetings. So we have somebody that is there every time, but he said, when he said it was going to be here, he was like, "Oh, you should come. Anybody, like any of you guys can
Is it
come."
open to the public or?
I don't think it's open to the public,
Oh.
but it would be open to any, I think,
Oh.
any commissioner from the different, you know,
Well, it's been the
Economic
same
Development
people for the
Commissions.
past 6 months.
we might not
so,
participate necessarily.
Yeah.
So what's the
They're very-
requirement? There's a membership fee? There's
For
some
Main Street?
specifications to
No,
You
no, to
could,
be in there?
for what, for the council or for Main
be
Street?
part of this Connecticut Main Street program?
Oh, so that is, we would have to, Ray would have to apply for the town. But
And what's the part-time
Okay,
manager?
no, it's different now.
Oh.
A town can become a member of the Main Street organization, but you're not gonna be a Main Street town.
Oh,
A Main Street town is a process that takes
That's what
many
we have to
months to
do
go
all-
through.
oh,
You have to have the certain type of density, you have to have a number of businesses who will be working towards the revitalization or the economy of that Main Street section downtown. That's where that part-time position comes in. We have a Main Street manager. And then you have access to their programs for training and what have you.
okay.
But if we belong, do we still have access to those programs?
Yeah, you have access to,
We're just not
some,
considered
through
a
their
Main Street.
library of information. You know, when we were Main Street people before, just as a general membership, I corresponded with them pretty frequently.
It would be nice to get their take
Yeah,
on it.
yeah.
What-
You know,
Okay.
in the future meetings, we can have guests here, like Main Street coming in.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
I would like to have another training session. I don't know if Dawn, you were here, but I know Kathy was here. We had Goldman York, their economic development consultant. He came in and did an hour presentation. We had another member from the same company come in and talk about zoning and economic development.
Yeah, I
You
was
pro-
not
You're
here.
drawing a blank, aren't you, Kathy? Were you awake during that process?
I don't know, I'm trying to recall.
wasn't here.
And it's like, really, was I there? I
Yeah,
don't
you were.
sorta
And
remember
he had-
that.
we had, it was quite an educational process. I
Okay.
wanted to show the relationship between what you do here and zoning and land use and development. I'll have them back,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
again.
they just did one for one of the towns, if I remember
did.
right,
yeah.
and they gave us their slides.
Maybe that's one of the things, one of the people that can come in and, you know, fill some of the time while Ray's working on other stuff through the budget season. Have them come in, fill a little bit of that
Well,
time.
then you'd have to pay them.
Okay, then never mind.
Okay, so.
Well, they can still come and give their pitch,
Oh,
right?
they can come in and do the educational portion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come and do the pitch part, and then we'll talk about whether we want to pay them.
Right, anything else?
Nope.
The favorite part of the agenda?
We have motion?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?